We are at Funda Community College. I am here with Mr.
Charles Ngosi.
Okay, we are going to ask a few questions for helping us to understand how the history of the school for the Open Password project. What is the meaning for the word Funda?
Funda means to learn. It means like as you read a book, and then it means like if you want to have a better understanding of the world through the wealth that you find in books. You can get careers, access lots of things like fine arts, like music, like theater, like maybe improve your symbols at metric level. Metric level is like grade 12. If some students fail in their grade 12, and then there would be a program here that would make them, provide them with how with the way of improving their metric results so that they can proceed to tertiary education like universities and whatever. So Funda then it came into being after 1976 because a lot of students and teachers were fleeing the country. Not that they were running away from the system, but they wanted to mobilize outside South Africa so that they can then one day come back to claim what is theirs. So when the students, the ones that remained in Soweto, couldn't continue fairly with learning because teachers were imprisoned and whatever, so the culture of learning took a dip, it went down. So now the people who were community leaders, educationists, and the business world clapped their heads together to say there should be an answer to the problem that is existing, because the culture of learning was going down and students couldn't go to school. Maybe they would be at school at 8 o'clock and then by 10 o'clock or so, because there would be no teacher, then they would leave the premises. So Funda was first designed, or the concept was that of giving alternative education for social and economic reconstruction, so that the young people could have their dreams at Funda. There would be here like about 15 organizations. I cannot name them all, but one of them was this very department. It was then called the African Institute of Art, and then there was the Madimba Institute of African Music and the Soyekwa Institute of African Theater. And all this was also, inspired by this man behind me there. This is work done by a former student. It's Professor Eskia Mpahlele, but now he passed on some years ago. So he's like, a spiritual father of this place, because before he died, he was a professor in African literature at Wits University, but he had gone outside the country to teach in places like, I think, Zambia, Nigeria. I think he had been also to the UK and France, but he spent some time in the United States, where he came across the concept of community colleges. So hence, it is through him that Funda changed its name from Funda Center into Funda Community College, because it was hoped that if you get a qualification from a community college, like if you know what happens in America, you get qualifications that can give you entry into a university, so that at least you know that you can follow your dream of studying this or studying that at university level. So Funda then came into being in 1984 to open its gates to learners, but late 1983. But the dream had started, I think, around 1978 or so, which also involved the University of the Free State, and also there is a Judge Stein, who has since passed, who was also in the fold. And then there was the Urban Foundation, which acted as a conduit that was bringing all these big minds together, including community-based leaders, politicians of the time, and educationists. And the business world came up with the money then through the...
Okay, that was a question that I was going to ask. At that point, who came with the money to the school at the point that there was the struggle for apartheid, against the apartheid?
Yeah. Funda, even then, most community-based organizations, or if I may say, non-governmental organizations, were not getting any funding from the state. But Funda, initially got funding from the Chairman's Fund, which is linked to the Anglo-American mining organizations. Like it also has the beers, and then but we also had Rembrandt van Rijn company that made cigarettes. Mm-hmm. They donated one building here, which was the art center, and then there was the IBM. They donated the library. So later on, there was also the Kagiso Trust, when Funda had been now then running. The Kagiso Trust also was a source that made it possible for these units of Funda to get funding to run their own operations. And there was also the German embassy, which was behind making the science block available for Soweto schools to bring kids to the labs here. But there are no labs. We'll come to that because there's a vandalization that took place here in 2006, leading to 2007. So, but the German embassy was one of those embassies that contributed the teaching of science to local schools. They donated money for the teaching staff there and all that. So we also had, I think in 1992 or so, a joint education trust. We called it JET, not the one that flies to the sky. Joint education trust, so which donated money towards paying staff salaries and building more. Like that round building there was built out of those funds. So later, there were also independent, state organs like now is the National Arts Council, which provides us, the arts unit, with bursaries for students, and then also the Department of Arts and Culture, National, which also makes it possible for us to get funding.
Okay, we are now talking about our days. What's happening right now, and how you are able to keep the place being working and working with people that live around here. How is this? How are you being able today to keep the place open and to let kids come to learn here?
Oh, like I said earlier on, in 2006 or 7, then there were people that came here with their own political agenda, wanting Funda for themselves, and then claiming membership to the foremost liberation movements like the ANC. But we sensed that no, there wasn't any strong fabric into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they messed up the institution. They messed up the institution to an extent that some units, like the music department, had lots of its music instruments tampered with or stolen, and furniture was destroyed. And it's funny enough, you may not believe, it was Tumelo, myself, and the other colleague that is not here, Ezekiel Budeli, who refused to move. And we took a lot of pressure from these guys. I mean, they are now occupying the other spaces in the whole premises, and yet they never raised a finger towards making sure that Funda becomes an institution for all, not an institution where you can rent space to church groups who come here. So their agenda was, to fulfill themselves with money they would be getting from letting the space here at Funda. So we are still, the finance department are still continuing, but we are on the move now, trying to recapture the glory days of Funda. And
for you to to regain the glory or the best times at Funda, and if you need to get a partnership, which the money has to come from somewhere, and is it possible to think about how it's going to be possible, or you have to wait until people that went through here, maybe they could come back to say we have to get this the same ways that it was when I was here. Is there any people that came through here that is on the roads? I don't know where these people could be, that it could be able to get together with you to get the glory times, as you say, back.
We are on that footing where we are organizing Friends of Funda events to bring all the alumni of Funda to the party so that they can get the story that once upon a time Funda was this, and then people had the perception that when we were invaded by these people, then most people thought that Funda was dying, and remarkably so, Funda refused to die, because even some people, when you would tell them about the story of Funda, they would sadly say to us, why don't you close the institution? Mm-hmm. You cannot build up an institution like that, which was the work of the board, the community, all the people who who are supporting education, you cannot just wish that away. So, but now Funda is back again, trying to mobilize and taking the story to the people. Like our chairperson is busy doing that, so that we might soon be having units that focused on solar energy, like maybe the Montessori, education unit for children, and also because our library is grossly underutilized. We fight each other about this space because we cannot use our own auditorium, but we are now going towards winning our space back, because we litigated against the city of Johannesburg because these people wanted us out here, and we won the case, even though we don't have title deed, because then it was hoped that would be, Funda. Remember, in 1994, there wasn't anything, because Funda was was established in 1984, but now it needed to have had a title deed that empowers it and the board to say, no, this is our space. So, but instead, in our case, against this organization called Senior Citizens Cooperative. Mm-hmm. But their aims, their dreams are corrupt.
Okay, let's get a point. When you started Funda, was in a very specific struggle kind of situation.
Yeah, for empowerment of learners. Yeah.
Do you see in the South African society today the possibility of getting people together again in some kind of very strong struggle that could lead for reinforcing the activities of Funda, like getting people to think one thing that they need to struggle about, that Funda could be in this struggle? Okay. Do you there's a word in Portuguese, vislumbrar. Vislumbrar is like to see in the universe. Okay. If you see there is any possibility of finding one word or one way to get people together again for struggling, to give a new meaning for the society today, or even for Funda has the essential role on doing this, on going together?
Oh, we are busy with that like now, but it's also something that you cannot just achieve in a quick manner. So, but we have held the Friends of Funda events. We have participated in exhibitions, and in each of those things we do talk about Funda, that we need people to come together, and we sell the story that Funda has never died. Much against those who wished Funda could have died a long time ago, but we want the institution to outlive its current staff, so that our children in the Funda, or our children's children, will continue using Funda. So there is a big drive that wants to reach out to people. Contacts have been established, like the one I was talking about of solar energy and whatever. So the skills basis will never stop functioning. Will never stop being put together in order to make the Funda story have the dynamic profile it has always had, because I mean, at Funda here, you would get, I think, like the Secretary of State, George Baker, coming here in 1991 with the Americans sending sniffer dogs all over the space here so that the Secretary of State would be safe. And I think about 2002 or 2001, the European Union visited this space, and we got the word going that everybody abroad has heard about Funda. So for us, it means if your institution sends ripples all over the world, then that is how people, maybe for some through word of mouth, but for some through the media, digital media, and the print media, and with us participating in exhibitions in many spaces in the world, like Culture in Another South Africa in 1988, in Holland, Amsterdam, and in the UK early 2002, and in Tunis, participating in an exhibition that was attached to CAF, CAF, the Supreme African Soccer Body. So I think 3 artists, including me, participated in that. But also the teachers have been going abroad and coming back, representing South Africa, making presentations in Holland, in Switzerland, and also having our students, after completing here in 2002, about 4 of them studied a degree in fine arts in Switzerland, a place called Senha. So we have had also highly regarded musicians like the diva, our national diva in jazz, Tumelo, and many others that she taught music, like Gloria Bosman and the late Wendy Mseleku, and also Atama Fukate. We've got quite a number of people who have hoisted the Funda flag. Recently, there is a gentleman that died, but he was part of a group that was playing strings. It was called Soweto String Quartet, playing violins, the cellos, the whatever. So all those people have contributed. And we also have young ambassadors like Tumelo, who initiated a program called Mulo Waditsumo. He will explain that to you.
Okay.
And,
please, can you tell me what is Mulo right now?
Mulo Waditsumo, it's my name is Tumelo Mokopakgosi. Mulo Waditsumo, it's a group. It's now registered as a cooperative, but it's under Funda. It includes not only fine artists, it includes musicians, it includes poets, it includes many other art disciplines like photography, animators, and many people, because we understood that the youth in South Africa mostly it's suffering from being alone, you know.
storytelling.
Yeah, and storytelling is part of it. So it was designed to help people to get out of this isolation thing, because when you're an artist, you are alone. So Molo was designed to bring people together and help each other, you know, find solutions within the way the system is against artists. Because if you go to look for funding as a artist, one person, it's very difficult to get funding. But as a group, it's better. So that's what we encourage the youth to do. So Mollo started in 2014. And then now it has more than 30 members. So it's people from different disciplines. And every month we meet in a session, an overnight session, where we share our things and share our art over a fire. So Molwari Tsumo basically is translated fireside poetry. So every month we come around the fire and network, discuss our problems, and get way forward into our creative ventures, because of people are now, they feel like art is a very, very bad career to venture into. There's no money, there's what, and all these things are there. It's just to find them, it's a bit difficult. So that's what this Mollo, the mandate of Mollo, it's all about that.
Okay, and this group that goes around the fire, is this a way of trying to get back for the more primitive kind of thinking, maybe from that point to get something different for the world where we live now?
Basically in Africa or in South Africa, culturally, in the old times, people used to learn, the education was oral, and it was done over the fire. So the granny and the elders will come on the fire and share and relay information into the youth. So that represents a form of education, because oral education is powerful more than anything. So other systems, when they come, like the system of books, people lost that culture. So we are sort of rerouting people back into what our ancestors used to do. So if you look into psychology, deep psychology, to learn orally, you learn faster than when you learn with books. And people don't get that because there was a system that came that told people, no, that's wrong. Yet when you're using your memory to memorize maybe stories or educational things and tales, utilizing your brain like that, it is quite powerful more than relying on books, because your brain will be so active. Imagine a person will be like a library, like your granny will know a lot of things and knowledge and maybe herbs and things to heal people, and proverbs, all those things, they come from elderly people, relate orally. So fireside represents cooling time and education. So that's a symbol when you say mollo. Mollo means fire. So that we made a lot of research about why people used to learn on the fire. Why not do it during the day? Why not maybe in the morning or any other time? So we found that is a very, very powerful symbol of education.
But right now we do have a lot of technology going through the hands of everybody, because we can go anywhere, maybe here, maybe in Brazil is the same, to the very, very simple kind of community, very small houses, let's say like that. And they don't need, a few of them even don't have running water or electricity. And even this way, they do have a cell phone in the hands of each 3-4 years old kids. And how is the distance of doing things around the fire? It is, are you getting closer or are you getting more distant from the way of doing, which all this technology come into everybody's hand? Okay. This technology is a thing that people are getting because they have been told to have it. Somebody is telling you have to have a cell phone, or is for the essential needs from these people that are with you around the fire, for example.
Okay. We support technology. Technology is a step forward, yet there is problems you can come around technology and cell phones and all those sorts of things. Nowadays, the cell phones, you get internet, and through the internet you get predators like child molesters and all these problems. So technology can bring a little bit of disbalance in the society. We support technology, we want to be technological, but we must remember the African ways. We must remember how people used to survive, because of that information. That's what makes us a strong people. I don't think you can come from Japan or Europe to come here to learn about what you have there. You want to learn about what you don't have over there. So we're trying to preserve what other people don't have, what we have and other people may find as something very, very, something that makes an African, for instance, the Bushmen people can navigate anywhere in the desert without any technological gadget, because technology is not limited to electronics. To be able to make a bow and arrow, that's a technological tool, but it is not an electronic type of tool. But what I'm trying to say is this: Africa had technology. Maybe we can call it biotechnology, technology that comes biologically to you, technology to find things around you. But it is not explained that way to people when they tell that people about technology. For instance, people don't understand that a bicycle is a technological tool, just like a TV. But yet the bicycle is not electronical. It's a manual technological tool. So that and Africans used to devise a lot of non-electronical technology, like finding water in the desert, following the rain patterns, following where the animals go, following food, around, food sources. So that's technological. Like, for instance, another example, rock art or rock painting used to be done by the San people. The technology they used in the material to paint, the blood, the charcoal, all of these things, that is very advanced, because even today they are still there. We don't think about that as technology. We think as that as primitive or whatever, but somebody must come out and say it. Africa is being technological from way, long time ago. So that's the things, the stuff, the type of stuff we share around the fire. That is advanced knowledge.
In Brazil, for many years already, there are a lot of people that are on the arts working, which we could call waste, things that the recycling things. On a way of not being, for example, I don't have the money to buy a good paper or international kind of paper and paints to do my artwork, and then I don't stay here. I would be very good if I had the money to buy it, and then they are just looking around and getting whatever they have on their hands to make it, to do some crafts work and some artwork and a lot of things. Is this in some way happening here around you or no?
We do a lot of that. To tell the truth, Funda itself, it's a school for repurposing materials. Like anything you'll find around you, we can turn it to art. For example, I myself, I use the sun to create art. Like when I see your magnifying lens over there, already I collect magnifying lenses. I use them to burn.
To make fire.
Not make fire, but to burn on surfaces like paper and wood, to create images. So I just need the sun. I don't need paint, I don't need pencils, I don't need anything. I just need the sun. So every time there's the sun, I'm under pressure to create something before it goes away. So that mindset, that's what Funda is all about. We are not really a school that teach people to depend on the stuff that you can buy, because of when you are in this type of background where you are challenged economically by many things. You need transport money, you need food money, you need material money to create art. So many people who come from Funda, they'll tell you when you're in this space, you'll become a guru in finding alternative materials, paints, brushes, and conventional materials in art. We sort of teach you in first year, into that. Second year and third year, you must find your way outside that type of knowledge. So basically, when you are in Funda, you are in a hub of out of the box thinking. So we can go without electricity, we can go without your conventional materials, we can go without even the stuff you can Google, because we don't teach people Google something, we teach people find. For instance, when
like we don't have electricity from 2007 till now.
Yeah, I know.
So
It is still running.
how do you run an institution without electricity successfully? We do that, and we have mastered that. So this is a very, very interesting space to be in, and it's very peaceful for the thinking. So I didn't know that until I started experimenting. I found out that human survival is above a lot of things, To be human, just to the ability to wake up in the morning, it already gives you everything. You are the resource, you are the capital. But nobody comes out and preach that, Nobody comes out and tell you, just wake up and have a healthy brain. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's your capital, that's your resource, But that's the stuff that we share, and that's the stuff that we represent. So when I'm on TV, when I'm on the radio talking about art, it's amazing. For other people think you need to have a lot of money to start something, number one, or maybe have a lot of connections of people to start something. You just need your healthy brain. If you are healthy in the brain, you can do it. I teach how to draw, how to paint, how to sculpt, how to print, and yet I know for a fact everybody is born without the ability to write, and it takes more than 6 years to teach a person to write. Mm-hmm. Yet it takes a person less than 2 years to learn how to draw. But people think to draw is difficult, yet it takes long time to learn to write. And everybody can write because there's so much time dedicated into teaching a child how to write. So for me, if you can draw, if you can write, you can draw. It's a matter of interest, and it's a matter of time invested into that, And that's some of the philosophies we share, that I also volunteer with the children's home, and I teach children art. So they used to think you need to have talent, like a special talent for you to create the artwork, like you need to be born with it and be able to draw perfectly and all of that. But now I have proved them wrong, and now everybody is like an artist over there. So that is so interesting, and children now, they start to understand and appreciate art, because you don't really have to be a perfect realist artist, or maybe an abstract artist, for you to produce something artistic, because art, you are fully born with it. In fact, it is so easy to learn how to draw more than to learn how to write. when you write, you use a lot of tension and a lot of
outside symbology.
yes, more than when you draw. When you draw, it just comes. You know, who taught the San people how to draw? Who taught the San people that whatever they mixing, the blood, the charcoal, the ochre, the stones, the rock, if you mix that, it will be forever engraved into the stones. Who taught them that? You know, it just came because of people are that amazing. You just need to wake up and have a healthy brain. If you can just do that, you can start some things.
Okay, is there anything that we did not talk about that you'd like to say to?
Okay, I would like to I would like to make people out there aware that there are people who still believe in humanism, you know, because we practice that a lot, and we like to tell people out there that Funda is here and Funda will never go anywhere. In fact, in my head, I think Funda is a very spiritual place to be in, you know, because my understanding of spirituality, it is not, it is now broadened, because when you are here, you interact with interesting people and you learn a lot. When you leave out, when you leave the space, you are a different person, you know. I guarantee you. I always tell people that when you come to Funda, even if you don't spend the whole year or maybe a few months, you'll be different. You know, you start appreciating little things in life.
Okay, I believe that because I'm feeling like this either. And would you like to say anything that I did not ask you or that we did not talk about to this point?
It's about him, Tumelo. He's a great teacher, but he also comes from here. He got educated in the 3-year full-time program, and he also he has taught the part-time learners and the full-time learners equally as well. And he is a very inspiring, young person who gets well with people much younger than us, and through the spoken word, much more than the adverts that we may flight into the newspapers and TVs, but the power of the spoken word and oral advertising, where people will say, "Oh, there is Mulowaritsum at Funda. Let's go and hear the stories," because also the stories through the indigenous knowledge systems in Africa, it's like everything happened around the fire, and it's an African version of what Europe was doing when, it's like the bedtime stories. But now with the Mulowaritsumo, you are not rocking your child to sleep, but you are making the fire awaken them, because the fire represents a very symbolic spark that brings people together and in a circle. Yeah. And then each person will come and say his piece, introduce himself, and then the others, like the psychology or the philosophy of the cycle is that it becomes unbroken symbolically. Or it says, if you take 10 people and then let them hold hands like this, even when they've let the hands loose, that thing will come, will register in the mind that now education is for bringing people together. So going back to what you were saying, how do we make people aware that Funda is there, it hasn't died, because Funda teaches people in a different manner. It makes you discover yourself. It makes you find self-worth towards what you seek to achieve in life. We have produced people who out of their own inventive genius look around, because we are the first institution, I think, in South Africa that came up with making collage and assemblages. Because when I came here in 1986, sometimes there would be no funding to buy the so-called sophisticated materials like the Winsor and Newton tubes and the Van Gogh pastels and whatever. So we would get newspapers and make paper mosaics or collages, and then that's how this skill also spread, to many, many young artists. There are artists coming from here who are internationally acclaimed through collage. So it's like you don't fold your hands because you say I'm an NGO, because there's nothing in my hands. And also the other thing is, what makes us stay here? You would ask that because we don't get money. We only get a stipendium for traveling from home to here. And if you can ask me what makes me stay here for well over 30 years, it's because the philosophy of education contains one dynamic factor, that you learn a lot when you are a teacher, because your students can also come with amazing discoveries that can also teach you, and you get your mind racing all the time. You want to do and give the best to your students. So now if you teach, you become selfless. You become somebody who's like a Peace Corps, who will go there and look after patients in the war zone and only get rations, food rations to eat and whatever. And if people die, I mean, imagine the people in Vietnam who would die, virtually die, being sent by their countries like America to go. And that's why Muhammad Ali refused to go and join the army, to go and kill, innocent people. So, but now, all those things are things that make you feel like, if you're an artist, you become a soldier of culture. You become a soldier of, what is it, the totemic presence. What makes you? It's like we've got in Africa something that says, if I'm Nksoi, who were my forebears before I came into the center stage? So that if I don't know my family roots, then it will be difficult for me to understand where I'm going. So if you teach art, you become a vessel that contains the fountain of, artistic consciousness that preserves everything you believe in as a group of people born under a certain clan or a tribe or a nation that could be looked at in future as South African art because of its African content. So for us, education, if you come here for music, a lot of young people who were taught by Sbongile, Khumalo and Mutsumi Machene, who is our chairperson, they are bigger stars than them today as we speak. Because when you are a teacher, in your selflessness, you are not about yourself, but you are about the output and the exponential geniuses that you produce that make you feel fulfilled. It's like when you were doing grade 1. What happened to you when maybe you were in your 30s? You meet this lady who was teaching you at grade 1 level, and then, she espouses pride. It's come here, my child. It's like you feel also, oh, maybe in those days there was corporal punishment if you are late. Wow. But now she says, or you say, thanks for giving me this. Because if it went for you, because I remember when we grew up, if there was a guy who was dodging classes or bunking classes, then the tough guys would be sent to because when we're doing grade 2, also we would be attending with guys who are about 16 or 17. Tough guy, they would go and take that boy, take him to school, like it or not, but he will get corporal punishment. But what is very idealistic and good about teaching is that you come to terms with humility, what it is to sit in a class or in an institution for the whole day without food. Then because the main food that brings you here is the spiritual food, you'll say, no, as long as I've taken tea in the morning and have my supper in the evening, I'm okay. But the business of the day, if it's fulfilled, it's fulfilled.
Okay, Funda, in one word, is possible? For you, one word.
I can't use one word. I can't use one word.
One phrase. One phrase.
One phrase.
Funda, in one phrase.
It's knowing thyself. Knowledge of self.
Okay, and for you?
I'll go.
One phrase.
Okay. The fun of fundamentals that contribute to your state of becoming.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Charles and Mr. Tumelo, for the wonderful participation on the Open Password project.